Hello, everyone. In tonight's Bloodline After Show, we are going to discuss many things, including John's timeline, people missing, not missing. I don't know. We have two people missing tonight, but it's me and Alison here holding it down, so tune in.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
The OGs are here.
That's right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this very exciting Bloodline After Show here on AFTERBUZZ TV. You are joined by the two originals.
Here we are.
Holding it down.
Here we are.
Yes, yes. Abby and Angela are not with us tonight, so Alison and I are holding it down. We will all reconvene for the finale next week, however, so do not fret. In the meantime, Alison and I got you. We're about to embark on episode 9.
Embark. I see what you did there.
And it's just flying by. I feel like it's. I know we say this. I know we say this because we take it week by week. It's the longest. We are experiencing it in the longest way, but I still think it's flying by. I am one of your hosts. I'm Blake V. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and the Snap at Blake V Media.
And the Snap. Oh.
I've added it to the routine, and let me tell you, I've started adding it, and I'm not used to it yet, and I messed myself up. It's happened a few times.
Well, I wouldn't know.
That one went seamless, guys. So
I wouldn't know. Okay. I'm Alison Dean. You can find me mostly everywhere because I'm not on Snap at the Alison Dean. Yes.
There you go. There you have it.
Maybe one day though.
Yeah. One day you will. The filters are what got me.
Ugh.
They're pretty fun. They're pretty fun. So Alison and I were talking a moment ago, and I initially said not a lot happened. What did I say?
Like, you said not a lot happened this episode.
Like, less happened this episode. But no, so let me clarify. Like, yes, many things happened this episode, but I felt like it was like we've been beat over the head with like major milestone, and this one was sort of
a prelude.
A prelude. It was like suspenseful and informative.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like...
Well, they're setting us up for finale, for sure.
For sure. Yeah,
and that's what it is. And they do this to us. They did it last season. Mm-hmm. And here we are.
Yeah.
Almost at the close of season 2.
Yeah. It's kind of stressful.
Oh, it totally is.
It's like... I think that's what it was, is when it ended, I was like expecting something awful or something intense. And then I was like, I felt set up. Like I'm feeling... anxious for the finale, just saying.
I'm also thinking that I'm wondering if the finale is really going to close all the holes that are currently exposed. No. Right?
I vote no.
Yeah, me too.
Porque season 3.
I know! That was good news. We did see that. When did we get that? We got that on Instagram, Facebook. What was that?
Yes, Instagram for sure. Mr. Jamie McShane confirmed it for us.
Season 3 confirmed. Yeah, we
Season 3 confirmed. Do we know the date? I don't think we know the date yet.
No, I'm sure it's too long from now. Right?
Far too long from now. Well, they made us wait a year for season 2. Mm-hmm. For God's sakes.
I know.
Anyway, so we'll be keeping you posted on season 3.
Yeah.
Follow us.
Here we are.
We'll
Blake
let you know.
Oh, geez. We'll come back.
That's right. We're here for you. We're here for you for your bloodline needs.
And we're here to just perpetually make the bloodline experience the longest one possible.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. And Alison, I think we're quite good. Quite good at it now. Yes, indeed. All right. So let's jump into this. We opened this episode with a very interesting flashback to Danny and John.
I know.
As children.
Right.
And it was very interesting because Danny already has that kind of like bad boy,
right.
I don't know, je ne sais quoi. And he's bringing it on to John, and they're like smoking and talking, and he's like, I'm leaving, man, I'm leaving. Right after high school.
I think it was just sort of confirming all of the angst that Danny had with the fam. And obviously we know why. Sort of he was blamed for something, and it never went away for him. It was always, it's like I think every day he saw his father was just another day, another reminder of the fateful day on board with his sister, and it was enough. I have to say, kudos to young John, because he was a spitting image. I was like,
this casting is insane. Like, we've all been very impressed with Owen Teague, and he of course plays Nolan and young Danny, but now we see young John.
I know.
It's like,
we saw young
thought.
We did see young John last season, though.
Briefly. I feel like it was very briefly, though. Wasn't
like,
it
the
just...
interviews.
Yes.
Right?
Flashbacks for the interviews.
I don't know why. I was like struck this time, though. I was like, huh. Anyway, yeah, it was lovely.
You and me both.
John's not a good smoker.
No, he's not. But Danny is.
Yes.
And that's just, very telling of their youths.
Yeah.
Very different. Just so different.
Yes.
So different growing up.
Yeah. Well,
Different adults.
it also
maybe
is
not?
like funny how much they don't look alike. Like all the siblings.
Eh,
Not really.
like maybe Meg and John look
And maybe
similar.
Kevin and Danny.
Yeah.
Is that like what we're gonna try to do here? Okay, I'll go
Let's
with
go
it.
with that.
I'll go with it.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah, that's
so,
fine. I accept.
Great.
I accept. Moving on.
Moving on. Okay, so let's jump into John. So
Yes.
so John really found out some very interesting information this episode. A lot of things happened with him. Initially, we first see in the beginning of the episode that Eve drops by. Eve drops by the house. She comes to pick up Nolan, and she's like, "All right, we're out of here." Interestingly, though, she does not say where they're going.
I know.
Hello, they're going to the Rayburn house. Like, everyone should know this. No one knows this.
Nope.
And she's like, I'm just taking the kid and we're
leaving.
hitting it, And John's like, okay, take care. Little does he know these people are going to be like living in his family home.
All up in there.
All up in there. And I just was like, huh. So you don't even say, like, no mention of like,
Well, he also didn't. He
Yes.
didn't really ask. He didn't care. He was just like, "Get out of my house."
yes.
Yeah.
And I think that was just everybody's assumption was just like, okay, get out.
Right.
No one even thought to ask, where are you going?
Right.
And it was right under their own roof. Muy interesante.
I think, honestly, though, it's interesting where they're taking Eve and her character, right?
Yes.
Because it's clear she wants to break free of whatever shady history she's had or what have you. And so I'm curious to see how the shady history sort of follows her, even though she's trying to say goodbye to it.
Yeah, and like while we're talking about Eve, we can just talk about her, and we'll pop back on to John.
Let's pop back on to John.
That's fine. He's a constant. So yeah, and so Eve, I feel like she's playing out a very different
Whole
game plan
Yeah.
than we all even thought.
Yes.
Like, I think we thought she was going to pop in, do some shady dealings, and like be on her way or
I think
whatever.
she thought that too initially.
Yeah.
I do. And I think it's only because she kind of started feeling overwhelmed at the notion of family and being part of something bigger than herself and just sort of this, very iconic family to the Keys. I think she was mesmerized by it on some level, and she wanted to be part of it. So now she's thinking, well, I better be on my best damn behavior if I want to stay here and be part of this, whatever this is.
Yeah. This image.
We'll see how long
this
it lasts.
mirage.
Right.
Right.
And I think probably she thinks it's going to have a positive influence on Nolan in some way.
Yeah. Well,
Hopefully.
If it's transparent enough, then yes, because that's been her thing the whole time. Was it's for the kid, it's for Nolan. He deserves
A better
a better
something.
this.
Yeah, right.
Whatever this is. Yeah. So definitely, it's interesting the course she's taken. We see the very interesting sit down.
I know.
Which
Ozzy?
is later, but yeah. So she goes to meet Ozzy and straight up says, like, I'm not going back with you, and I'm moving into the inn and taking the kid, and like, sorry. And she was like, we both knew this wasn't going to last forever.
I know. And that was the part where I was like, ugh, I don't think he's going to like that very much. He bought you a guitar.
Yeah, I mean, and when a guy buys you a guitar, it's very serious.
And he calls you luscious.
Yeah. He calls you luscious.
I was like, oh,
Although I really enjoyed...
how precious, luscious.
Right?
Yeah.
So precious. I really enjoyed also the voice message that Ozzy left.
It was like, it started off in one plane and then it just, oop, we're taking a turn here.
I really liked it. Hello, my love. I love you.
Luscious.
Where are you? Where the hell are you? What is going on? Tell me. Okay, bye. It was great. I liked it.
Yeah, no.
I liked it. Question: would you call him back?
No.
Clearly she didn't either. But I was entertained.
Yeah.
So she tells him, no, sorry, I'm leaving. Goodbye, whatever. But who witnesses this?
Meg. So
Meg. Freaking Meg. So Meg has been getting the shakedown from Ozzy.
Yes.
He keeps coming around trying to
Get some more money.
Get money, do the thing.
That whole thing also, because he doesn't have any real concrete info on anything.
Right.
He doesn't. Did Eric O'Bannon tell him everything?
Probably. Maybe. Eric O'Bannon seems like, no. I feel like he's more private and that maybe he did not reveal all the details, but Danny shared a lot with Ozzy. They were very close. So not so much Danny's death, but I wonder how much beforehand Ozzy has as leverage. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I just, yeah, the whole leverage
It's very
thing
interesting,
is,
yeah. The game they're all playing. But Meg sees it nonetheless.
Yeah, and so she obviously thinks, oh, now Eve has ties to this guy that's been shaking me down, and now this chick is also staying with my mother.
Which,
yeah.
Okay, so, I mean, let's pretend this is our lives.
Yeah, I know.
And this has happened. Like, I felt conflicted because I was thinking about this the whole time. I'm like, okay, so your brother suddenly has a mysterious love child and baby mama. Okay, like, that's life.
Right.
Sure.
Right. Possible.
Sure. It's possible.
Possible.
And then what do you do? Like, yeah, the right thing, I think, is to accept and figure out the situation and kind of deal with it. But, like, do you? Meg is so hesitant. They're all so hesitant. Even Sally, I'm surprised, is very receptive to this situation. She's taking in Nolan and Eve, like, very well, I think.
Well, I think she was she wasn't at first.
Oh, no.
Right? So
Yes.
when the season began, it was no, get the hell out of here kind of a thing. But I think now that she's learning certain things or feeling slightly deceived by John and Meg and Kevin, and also beginning to investigate Danny's life in Miami and sort of seeing the restaurant and piecing things together with Nolan, I think her level of acceptance, the tide is turning for her. And I also think she is getting angry. Like, she brought it up tonight with Meg. You didn't cut Danny back into the will.
Right.
And so I feel like this is her way of, like, righting that wrong on some level,
Yeah.
like in his honor, or to pay her respect to Danny and his share of the Rayburn house. She's like, well, the least I can do is have your son be here and the baby mama.
Truth.
Right?
And it's interesting too, because so she straight up says, like, did you put Danny in the will? And then Meg says, no, I didn't. And then her response was very much like, well, in that case, or not in that case, but like that as well, like, you basically have no rights here. This is my house. Mama's house. And you, I don't know. Yeah. Best find your place. Right?
Yeah.
So that was interesting too. Like, family. It's all family. Rayburns is family. But it's not a very loving, thoroughly considerate.
Well, they're all being dishonest on some level, right?
Yes.
So there's pieces of information that they're all withholding from one another. So even though Meg and Kevin are still sort of helping John, there's still things that John is not revealing to Meg and Kevin. There's things that Meg is not revealing to John. I mean, the fact that she even came out tonight and told him about the whole Aguirre situation, and the fact that Marco was around, like the fact that she even like put that seed out there, because she was still trying to protect Marco. Right? But this is now protecting Marco could mean her demise on some level, because Marco's investigating all of them. So it's just, I don't know. There's just a breakdown of the whole communication. So once again, I said this about Sally. I think, and it might not happen this season, but we know now there's a season 3.
Yes, we do.
Sally is going to give us something.
She has to. She's been the buildup of this whole thing.
I think.
And so
I think maybe.
And so mysterious.
They need to use her.
Yes. I mean,
Come
really
on, Sissy Spacek.
I mean, if they didn't, it'd be like a travesty.
She can't be sitting on a rocking chair for 2 seasons, right? It's like season 3.
I won't allow it.
Yeah.
Kessler and Zellman.
I know.
Get on this.
I know.
But it's very mysterious.
I know.
The whole thing, like even just her relationship with her husband, is so mysterious.
Well, deceptive too, because he didn't tell her things.
didn't tell her things. Even the fact that Meg, even as their daughter, their attorney daughter, having her be in charge of like the will and the estate and everything to the point where Sally does not know what's happening,
right,
is very mysterious to me.
Totally.
That is very interesting.
Well, I mean, think about it too, though. Think about how Sally picked up and just left one day, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like there's things about all of it that just are not the healthiest.
Not the healthiest.
Right? Not the most Brady Bunchy.
No, not at all. Speaking of Brady Bunchy, John's family. So like Eve takes Nolan away. We kind of cut to the family dinner, the first family dinner with Nolan gone. It's John, Diana, and their two. Is it both of the kids or just the son?
Well, the son left to go do some homework.
Right.
So it was almost both.
Okay, right.
Yes.
That's true.
Yes.
So then we see again Diana face to face and alone with John, which at this point is just painful.
It is.
It's just so painful.
Yes.
Just every time it's just like tension and like I get a stomach ache.
I know.
Right?
Yes.
And every time Diana's like, "Do I need to be afraid?
Right.
Don't tell me. But do I need to be afraid?"
I liked your impression of
Right?
this.
That's how she did it. That's how she did it. But right, like she constantly is like doesn't want to know, but
But she does.
She does because of her level of safety. I really truly think she doesn't want to know the deets because she doesn't want to be implicated in that way. I think that she just really is like, are people going to murder us? Is that Aussie character going to murder us? Right. Are they going to murder our children? Is murder happening to my family?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I get that. I also feel like she's sort of trapped at this moment because all eyes are on them with this whole sheriff
100%.
nonsense.
Right.
And she is trying her darndest to like be there for John and like help him. I mean, she is like doing far better than I think a lot of women would.
She's holding it together.
Yes.
She is. She's holding it together until she doesn't.
Yes. Precisely. Like I would lose my mind.
Yeah, all women are not created equal.
I would lose my mind. I'm just throwing that out there. And like she stays and like she.
Well, I mean, she doesn't want to stir the kids up either.
See,
right?
I know.
So she's, I don't think they're sleeping in the same bed together right now.
Oh, heck.
That'd be my vote.
Heck no.
Right? She's like, you're going on the couch.
Ain't happening. Yeah. So Diana, I get a stomach ache for her.
I hear you.
Okay. So let's talk about this guy. I don't remember his name. Like the rancher guy with the property who John was trying to get.
The Cordoza farm.
Okay.
Cordoza.
I called him the rancher. That was close enough.
Okay. I knew where you were going.
Thank you. Okay, so we discover that this guy's property lines up.
Well, it basically where it is,
roads.
he's got the security cams that face both directions of the road, so
Yes.
it's prime footage. Now, the funny thing that I was thinking at this time was really in all the keys, there's not like strategic cams. Like, isn't like every I don't know. There's like security footage in every.
You think?
Well. In most places, don't they put that kind of stuff
Like
on
governmental or just individual properties?
No, government stuff. Like there's security. I mean, I don't know. Anyway, maybe not in the keys. That being
I
said,
don't know.
John was very eager to know what cars were coming to and from and how far back that footage went, and obviously, this had everything to do with the morning that Danny died.
Yes.
We know because he wanted to be fully prepared for if and when the sheriff, Aguirre, maybe got a warrant for that footage. He wanted to be one step ahead and know what was on the tape and or try and modify it.
Which is smart.
Definitely
smart. And that's what I thought. I thought that he
went to Hank. He went to Hank. Hanky Hank. Hunky Hank?
Good old. Ooh, maybe.
Was he hunky?
I'd say more yes than no.
I mean, in like a survivor sort of way.
Precisely. Precisely that kind of way.
Or in a Walking Dead sort of way.
Ooh.
Maybe better.
I like that better.
Hunky
Let's
Hank.
go with that. Hunky Hank in a Walking Dead sort of way.
Yes.
Has all the answers for John. He's just visiting him on the reg.
Like, just bring him a cigar.
And this time he goes, oh, cigars and alcohol. You must really need something important from me.
That means it's not just me. You're going to have to phone a friend when it's the cigar plus the alcohol, right? And in fact, he did need to phone a friend.
He really did.
Right?
This was sort of a big ask. I mean, this is like private property.
Right?
And they're basically like demanding this footage with really no...
Well, okay, so here's the
reason.
The thing.
Yeah.
So even though it's private property and the security footage is for private property, it was true when Hank said this is all on, you know, various servers. So the thing is there are people that can access that kind of stuff. People that are quite good at it. And obviously Hunky Hank knows all sorts
these
of people.
skills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not that they had to go onto property. Everything is done very remotely.
Yeah.
No one knows it really even happened.
Right.
The more creative thing is to be whether or not those people can then modify the footage on the servers.
Yes.
This is more challenging, and this is something that we still don't know if Hunky Hank can provide us. And I don't actually know if John's going to ask this.
No, and it's so interesting because Alison and I were chatting about this in the beginning. They maintained the footage. We saw a few different times where it flipped to John looking at the footage.
Yes.
He finds
Himself.
He finds
Damn.
right. He finds Meg and Kevin,
Yep.
same vehicle,
Well,
and
first
separately,
it was, yep.
and finds Eric.
Yep. That's who he was looking for.
Yes. So he spots everybody.
end.
I thought at the end that he was, you know, frame by frame and then like clipping the cars in between or
Sadly,
like
no.
something. You know what I mean?
He wishes.
I wished.
Oh, how nice.
How
How considerate of you, Blake.
Team Rayburns.
That's very considerate of you.
That's what I thought was happening. Alas, no.
No.
Per Alison.
No.
Alas, no.
Nope. Sorry.
Which is fine because, you know,
The show must go on.
Karma and all, I guess. Yeah, but so the footage.
This was really just setting up the fact that now John knows, according to the timeline, that Eric O'Bannon was a part of that story.
Involved.
He knows something because he was along that path. And John knows that Eric knows something because John went a-lookin' in Marco's drawer, opened up the Danny Rayburn case file, and saw a few little notes scribbled down that certainly pertained to Mr. Johnny Boy.
Yes, and specifically that Eric wants immunity. There's like the note.
That was also a part of the file that he discovered.
So he knows what he's working with Eric now. Does John know the extent of what Eric knows? No. But we know far more as viewers.
Yes.
Because we saw, what did we see? We saw the flashback to Eric and Danny on the beach.
I know. I was
right-
like, I had a moment. I was like, there he is.
I just miss Ben Mendelsohn so
I know,
much.
I do.
Like, I just want to cry.
I do.
Like, my heart just aches so badly. I just love him so much and want him back so much. Anyway.
Yes. I know, it's like...
Right? It's like bring a tears to your eye. Okay, so, but we see him and Eric have this little convo, and Danny's like... very clearly, I'm going to swing by your place
Right after
I get done with John here.
Mm-hmm.
So they were very involved during this period of time. They had they communicated, they had organized, they would see each other later.
Mm-hmm.
The John situation was only supposed to happen briefly. Meanwhile, John never knew, like he had no idea that Eric and Danny were so, you know, precisely involved in this moment of time. So like John did what he did, and then I guess, I mean, truly it's taken this long for Eric to like really put the pieces together and figure it out because what, he thought maybe just Danny just skipped town this whole time? I mean, until he died. I mean, of course, until he was killed. But I mean, before, like that day when he didn't show up, he just thought like, oh, okay, well, I guess Danny skipped town.
Right.
Until they found out a couple days later that he was dead.
Well, and then I was thinking too, how long was he, did he for sure leave immediately when he said he did? We don't know this yet.
No, he could even have seen the whole thing.
But if he saw the whole thing, I think he would have maybe come out sooner. I think. Mm-hmm. So I don't necessarily, like, I'm curious how they're going to weave that in for us.
Yeah.
Because I would hope that they would. They're starting to, like, plant these flashbacks. So it seems like they're beginning to give us that piece of the puzzle, but also not quite, obviously. Yeah, he knows some stuff though.
Yeah,
and now I think also what tipped the scale even more for John too was when Marco went to Janine's school and asked about the seahorse necklace, and somehow that came back to, well, obviously we know that came back to John, because of course it would.
Which was super weird. Wasn't it weird?
What do you mean?
For Marco to go to the school?
Well, I sort of understood it from Marco's perspective. He didn't want to bring in the daughter of, he didn't want to bring in John's daughter, because that looks real bad. To be like, why are you bringing in the daughter for questioning?
But shouldn't he have told
John
first?
Well, but now they're not in the same plane. They're not. They're like, now they're on opposite teams.
Well,
the teams have now separated.
They have.
So the communication.
They have, like Marco is Team Aguirre now.
I know.
It's crazy.
Well, and we actually, this is now making more sense too, because of all the weird stuff that happened with Miss Ortiz, the ex of Mr. Aguirre, and how he was promoted at the time.
Oh God, isn't it so interesting?
Like, this is all just wackadoodle.
Yeah. John and Aguirre's wife, and Marco and Aguirre.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes. So the teams have switched. Teams are divided.
Yes.
For sure. I do, however, think it was like I don't know what. I mean, I don't know the laws regarding this, but I feel like it wasn't right for Marco to go to the school and talk to Janie.
Oh.
Because I feel like she's a minor,
weird.
and like there's minor issues. There's minor issues with her being a minor. That's what I think.
I think that's what you do though when you're
a cop.
Kinda. I mean, at least, especially one that was almost going to be like in your family. You're just like, hey, so you had a seahorse necklace? I don't know.
Maybe.
I think it'd be more weird if they didn't know each other, and he was just like, "Hey, are you Janie?"
Right,
that would have been creepy as hell. But like, she's like, "Hey, Marco," like,
right. I think though that he just kind of used that to his advantage.
Sure, he did.
And he was
100%.
just like, I'm gonna just like slide on in here all casual like. And even at the end, John was like, "Hey man, you should have come to me first."
Oh yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah."
But
Yeah,
then what? Then he would have been like, "Hey, Janie, you're gonna get Marco's gonna ask."
Well, I mean, John would have said no. First of all, John would have said no, stay away from my daughter. She's out of it.
Right.
And then Marco wouldn't have been able to, and that's why he had to do it without telling him. Yes.
I think he still would have gone if John said no.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah,
I think so too.
That wouldn't have stopped him.
And as they say, it's easier to beg for forgiveness than it is to ask for permission.
Totes my goats.
So that's what they say.
Yeah,
it's what they say.
It's what they say.
So speaking of the seahorse necklace,
yes,
Eric,
yes,
had it.
That was weird, actually. I thought that I thought that was definitely estranger, because okay, so that means that at what point
did he obtain it?
Yeah, so it was floating. Was that post? Did he return to the site where he was last with Danny, but post? He must have. So he went back to the scene after Meg and Kevin retrieved Danny and placed in trunk and removed John to get to the hospital. He came back to scene once Danny did not show up at his house. He went back to sort of go poking around, like, where is this guy? And that's when he kind of saw the seahorse necklace.
So, but then how did Janie get the necklace? Because Janie had the necklace.
No, because John took it back. So when Janie had it, and then John took it and was like, "You gave this to my daughter." Remember? Like, that was part of the conversation on the log. And then when all the fighting happened and all that stuff, then necklace got caught on the thing, and then Eric O'Bannon gets it.
Okay.
Boom.
Okay.
Boom.
Oh, Alison. Oh, I loved it.
Right?
That was like the best recap.
But yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it had to have been, yes.
That's
so
what
Eric
happened.
went back, snatched it.
She did have it first.
She did.
Right. And then, but John was like, "Where'd you get that? Give it." And then he retrieved it.
And it was strange because Janie was like, "Oh, I was asking about it the other day, but he got rid of it." So
no, he didn't.
So this means that she hasn't had the necklace for a very long time at this point.
Right.
She only had it very briefly.
Yes.
Okay. So confirmed. Confirmed.
Yes.
So Eric gets the necklace.
Yep.
He pawns it.
He does.
Now finds out the value of it.
Correct.
Learns the value of it from this whole situation.
Swaps the pawn.
Now I'm curious about this.
Yes.
Pawn swapping.
Yes.
So he has this like little Virgin Mary figurine.
Yes.
And he says, "Here, heavenly protection." And then the guy is like, a Hummel.
Because it was made by, that must be
Hummel?
a high value artisan.
Okay. Okay. I intended to Google a Hummel, and then I didn't.
I did not Google. I thought that you would Google, so I did not.
Damn. A Hummel. Anyways, maybe I'll Google it in 1 second. But so I thought, no, this was funny. I thought, okay, so I had to rewind it like 3 times because first of all, I didn't understand what he said. He said like a Hummel, and I was like, excuse me, what are you saying? What is happening? I thought he took the figurine, flipped it over, and there was like drugs or something inside.
Oh,
like, you know, like a covert,
like a Hummel.
like a,
no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
like a Hummel. Yeah, like something inside, because he was like, yes, my friend, you indeed have trade. And I was like, really? Like, what value really is this figurine? I don't know, because I'm thinking the necklace is like gold and I don't know, something nice. And the figurine,
But in fact, it is not a Hummel.
But I'm gonna find out what this Hummel is right now.
I was like, are they Googling for us? Like, who's Googling now?
I don't know. I'm Googling. Someone's Googling.
Yeah.
While I'm Googling, let's talk about the conversation that Eric and Ozzy had.
On the canoe.
Yes, which was a very sketchy location. If I were Eric, I wouldn't really want to go with Ozzy out into the middle
No.
of the
on like
ocean.
a swampy whatevs they were on?
Yeah.
A marshy bog thing?
And are you really gonna drop like major info there?
Well, obviously you're secluded, so I guess
it's like the cone of silence.
Yeah, you got that going for you, but you're also alone with Ozzy, who has proven he is not a person that you want to be alone with. Because he could literally just crack at any moment.
He's proven a very sketch individual.
He's volatile. He's
very volatile.
But man, is he good at that role. He is freaking fantastic. I know.
fantastic.
Amazing. Amazing.
It's just wonderful.
Thank you, John Leguizamo, for that genius role.
And so he tells Ozzy, like, well, how did he word it? He basically said he's working with the cops, but he said it in such a way that was like,
not trying to say that he was doing that, but just sort of like, I need to sort of come clean about some stuff. And then obviously we know now that Ozzy has greater plans to just keep.
very interesting. Side note, a Hummel figurine is a real thing.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
They don't lie to us.
I didn't know this. I thought it was like a made up, like fancy thing. Shows what I know.
Is it an artisanal thing?
Yes.
Artisanal.
Hailing from 1930s Switzerland.
Wow.
They became very popular during World War II.
Wow.
They have also become very popular in pop culture.
Oh.
Pop culture and collectibles. They've been mentioned on Seinfeld and Glee and Gilmore Girls and
Antiques Roadshow.
Antiques Roadshow and now Bloodline. You can add that to the pop culture list.
So
anyway,
this
it's a
is why
thing.
we know.
I'm not saying that they're very high priced, but I guess if they're so popular, maybe.
Well, but
maybe they are.
I mean, I guess comparable for the maybe it was 14 karat gold. I mean, we don't really know.
This is true. This is very true. The value of this necklace.
And who knows if that guy really knew what level of gold it was.
Maybe he just had a soft spot for Hummel.
Yeah.
For Hummel things. Okay, so Gilbert. I want to talk about Gilbert.
Please, let's talk about Gilbert.
Because he's just striking me all the wrong ways.
Do you think he wants to sleep with Meg?
Interesting. I did not think about that. I did not think that was the motive until you mention it.
Every time I see them together, I'm like, ooh, he's giving me the creepy man vibe.
I feel like it's more than that, though.
Well, it's definitely, now that we know, especially after the conversation that Meg and Sally had, when Sally very clearly said, oh no, Gilbert and your father were definitely not friends. And that made me go, So clearly he has some ulterior motives. We don't know what he's doing, but he's doing something. He's like possessing the children. So it's like he's got John now under his wing.
He's like gathering up the family for his own. It's so strange. And even the fact that Sally and the father, whatever, never made it known about this guy. Like, this guy was obviously a secret. So now that John, as an adult, is well into his career running for sheriff, no one ever said, like, hey, don't hire Gilbert. Like, Sally, like, no one ever was in the loop for Sally to give the warning or even an opinion, like, hey, don't work with this guy.
Right.
So, like, here John and Meg are being besties with this guy.
Yep.
And Sally just, like, off the cuff is like, oh, no, this guy's not a good guy. Well, too late now. They're, like, deep in bed with him.
Deep in bed.
I bet it's very deep. It is a very deep bed.
I'm eager about this.
Yeah. So, okay. So first of all, we sort of see that the paperwork was drawn up for Gilbert to purchase the boatyard.
Yep.
And Meg, upon hearing this recommendation from Sally, is like, Kevin, maybe not. Maybe we need to hold off on this and think about it. Maybe not. Kevin gets all in a huff and says, what are you doing to me? This is my life. This is my livelihood. I got to do it. So he does
I got that.
I get that. I totally get that.
And then suddenly he goes, oh, shit. Maybe Meg was right.
Freaking Kevin, right?
Well, I mean, I think, yeah.
But whatever. Like, he needed it.
Didn't really have a choice.
Which still the question remains for me why he didn't just have that original developer guy, yacht developer guy. Why he didn't just have him buy the yard? Why did
Because there was still an attachment for him. So he still wanted a piece of, you know, the boatyard was his life. So I mean, yeah, certainly he could have given it up and been like, great, I got a whole lot of money to do something else.
Because I feel like he made that decision before he called up Gilbert or whoever called up Gilbert. Like after he left the conversation with Yacht Guy, he said in his mind, shit, I should have actually just sold it. I'll just sell it. I just need to sell it. From that, Gilbert gets introduced, and then Gilbert says, oh, no, I want to keep you as partner. And he was like, really? So I think he already made the decision, like, he was going to break away from it.
Is Gilbert going to do some shady shit and then put it on Kevin?
He has to. Like, something not good is happening. So not only did he do that... Not only did he do that, but the creepy part too with Meg, where he's like, did you invoice me for your consulting work? And I wasn't quite sure, like, was this for the campaign?
No.
Like...
This was his way of saying, I want to pay. So she was saying that there was things that required some more funds and that she didn't want to ask him for that money. And so his way of basically saying, I'm giving you that money is by saying, you obviously need to bill me for all these different things. So that was his way of verbally giving her a commitment that she basically can go on retainer and just submit invoices for money. Just take his
unlimited cash.
And that's when I was like, oh, he's into her for something else.
And last thing about Gilbert.
His name is Gilbert.
His name is Gilbert.
No.
The fact that Kevin was at the boatyard real late one night.
I know.
And these randos roll up.
Yep.
And he's like, hey, what's going on? And the guy's like, oh, you must be Kevin.
Right.
Yeah, we were like sent here from Gilbert or whatever, and we're going to just take the boat for a little and bring it back. And it's like the middle of the night.
And it's like not like a kind of boat where you just take it out and bring it back. It's like a ginormous...
This is like not a dinghy.
No. It's not even like a motorboat. It's like a... I mean, it's...
Yeah, no. This is like a big deal to undock and then redock.
Yes. In the middle of the night.
For a leisurely midnight stroll.
Yeah, very odd.
And of course that guy was like a super creeper also, and like very mysterious individual, so like God knows. God knows.
Maybe we'll know at some point.
Maybe we'll know. Maybe in the finale.
Maybe
who knows?
We'll know at some point.
Or season 3.
Yep. Or season 3.
Or never.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Well, there's that option.
There is.
And the other major point is that I guess John has decided that he's going to use the information that I guess, you know...
Mrs. Aguirre?
Yeah, he found out that Meg ceded that info to the press, and now he's going to leverage it because, in fact, Marco and Aguirre are getting way too close to the whole Danny situation again. So... what do you know? He plants some more info, and Internal Affairs is now opening an investigation. And so I think obviously John's hoping that's going to totally rattle them and prevent them from doing any further work. We'll see if that actually is true.
Yeah. Yeah. Could very well be. And
This
I think
is terrible.
And
This is terrible.
It is terrible. And a very telling moment was when John tells Marco to quit messing with Danny and his family.
I know.
Because it's not going to end well for him. To which Marco says, well, it's not going to end well for you. And they both agree, it ain't going to end well for either of them. Right?
And I think Marco might be right.
Marco might be very right.
I think this might be a self-fulfilling prophecy, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah.
We shall see. It's not going to end well for both of them, apparently.
And Diana demands that John take care of Marco.
She did say that?
She did. She said something because it's in my notes.
Oh, okay. I was like...
for sure that happened.
Maybe I was taking a bite of something at that moment. I was like... maybe I was Googling Hummel, and I didn't recall that.
Maybe you didn't bring the results.
Anyway.
Okay. So, some predictions maybe real quick?
Sure.
All right. Okay. Okay, so
You're AfterBuzz
There's words.
TV.
sometimes there's not words. There was words.
Is there?
I feel like sometimes there's not words.
Oh.
Anyway, nonetheless, so yeah, things are definitely not going to end well between Marco and John. I think that's a given. Because at this point, like, it's bad. It's very bad, and something major is going to have to happen to put a stop to all of this. John can't go forward until he puts a stop to this. Like, this is not, I don't know. I don't see how there would be any way to continue on and not do anything about it.
Right.
And then I also
But I don't think it's going to be... So, John can't do anything with Marco. It has to be a convo.
Right, he can't
The only
touch
person
it.
he's aware of at this point is he's either going to talk to O'Bannon or he's going to try and manipulate the footage. Those are his only two options.
Yeah.
Right? Because what else would implicate him at this point? It's either O'Bannon or it's the footage.
Yeah. True. Very true.
Right?
Yes,
And
I think
Hunky
yes.
Hank might not be able to help him with the footage.
Hunky Hank can only do so much.
Hunky Hank might be able to help him with O'Bannon.
Yeah. Yeah.
That guy looks like a guy that could help with another being, but I don't know.
He looks like he can help with many things that John is finding himself in. Well, I mean, yeah, because he keeps visiting him.
Yeah.
Do me favors, Hank.
We should have Hunky Hank on the show.
Alison. Fabulous idea. Fabulous idea. Yes, and Kevin, I'm just nervous for Kevin again. Before he gave me anxiety because of his just off the wallness, and now I'm just nervous for his well-being. These people are up to no good.
Well, he was starting to make me feel better because now that he's not drinking, I'm feeling like he's regaining part of himself back. I am.
But now he's getting hoodwinked.
Well, I think time will tell with that. I
Okay.
think time will tell.
Okay.
And then, I don't know, Meg is...
I don't know Meg right now. I don't know what's happening.
I don't know her. Yeah, you're right.
don't know her
That's
right now.
accurate. That is
Yeah.
true. And you know what else? I'm really hoping that we revisit what's his name, the old guy that was staying with
Potts.
Sally.
Lenny Potts.
Yeah, I really, I don't know when.
And
where did he go? We
he
don't
ju-
have any resolution, which
I
means he's coming back. I don't know
has
when.
to.
He's coming back.
Because
Maybe
there
for
was
the finale.
there was one episode where he's like dropping major bombs, like Sally, your children are lying to you, or this and that, and irritating
Yes.
John, and then he
Yes.
just like mysteriously
Right.
disappeared.
Right. Thank you, Blake. So I'm just saying, we haven't seen the last of Lenny Potts, and if we have, I'm going to be very, very disappointed with Zellman and the Kesslers.
Yeah, it's gonna be like you'll take it
That's
to
not
that
their
level.
that's not their style.
not their style.
It's not.
I think that's gonna do it for episode 9.
my God.
Great recap, lady.
OGs,
in the house.
Thank you all.
Yes.
Big kisses.
Big kisses, and we will be seeing all of you next week for the finale.
Oh my God.
Yes. I have been Blake V. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and the Snap at Blake V Media.
I'm Alison Dean. You can find me on the Twitter and the Insta at the Alison Dean.
That is us. A full panel will be happy to see you guys next week. We'll be joined by the rest of our ladies to take out season 2.
Damn. All right. See you all
you guys later.
next week. Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.